Today on r/IDontWorkHereLady. Not just once, but 3 times. When I worked both security and my last job in a warehouse, I would stop by Aldi on the way home. First time a lady approached me and asked where something was, and I told her over there. But I don't work here. I had on a hoodie because it was cold. Second time, a guy literally followed me around Aldi just to ask where something was. When he got close, he realized I don't work there, apologized and left. I was in regular street clothes. Third time, some guy kept telling Miss, hello? And I noticed a lady look toward me, so I turned around. Guy came running up to ask me about a product he was holding. I told him I didn't work there, so I don't know. He tried to convince me I did work there because of my shirt. It was just a dark blue, very close to a black blue. It was a uniform shirt, and I pointed out the color difference. He still didn't believe me. One of the really nice workers had noticed and came up to figure out what was going on. It took her a few minutes to convince him I didn't work there. I even pointed out the logo on my shirt was for the job I used to work at, not Aldi. I finally just left the worker with the guy and went to stand in line. For our next story. You don't know the price? Well, I'll smack you. This happened yesterday. I, 19 male, work with my uncle, 63 male, on his truck. We work delivering home appliances, mattresses, and we also move people around the city and the next 2 cities. But my uncle has a contract with VH Corp, a small company like Walmart, but focused on credit and home appliances, phones, tablets, hair dryers, hair trimmers, etc. My uncle and I do the deliveries for that company, delivery to clients, to other shops under the name of VH, and to repair under warranty. Every store has at least 2 employees working, one in the cash register, and other on the main desk, both basically doing the same. I was just arriving to one of those shops under the name of VH. Let's call it Shop N. And at the moment there was only 1 employee working at the desk, since the other was on maternity leave, so we had to basically get the things ready, which were a 50-inch TV and a 420 LT fridge. I focused on the TV and my uncle on the fridge, and something important is that they had a dress code at the company. A pink t-shirt with the logo on the left side of the chest, jeans and shoes. I was on joggers, tennis shoes, and a blue hoodie which I use only when it's raining and cold. My uncle was wearing jeans, same tennis shoes as I, and a military green short-sleeved shirt. I was focusing on unmounting the TV from the wall mount when a lady approaches me and asks me for the price of the TV, and I told her that I don't work there, but she could approach the main desk and ask for it. They thanked me, then I continue with the TV until someone taps my shoulder, and there was a middle-aged woman with black short hair, shorts, and a floral blouse. Then the next conversation ensues as I place the TV over its box to remove the wall mount. John is my uncle, and Nellie is a nice employee. This conversation was in Spanish, and we use a few expressions I'm not sure how to translate, so I'll do my best here. Also, I forgot to mention that the employee here was busy with another client on the front desk. Me, looking at the woman and standing up, while being polite. Hi miss, how can I help you? Karen, excuse me, can you please let me know the price of this AC? She points to the AC on display. Me, well, I guess it should state the price on the AC. It has a cardboard with the price on it. That's the price if you want to buy it and pay via credit, I said as I nod softly, trying to help before looking back at the task on hand. Karen, I saw the price already. Me, very well then. I then focused back on the TV and unscrewing the wall mount. Karen, very well? That's too expensive. Are you trying to scam me? Me, looking at her a bit confused. Well miss, that's the price here. Price if you want to pay via credit, if I recall correctly, the price by paying cash or debit, it's 20% less. K, if you recall correctly. Seriously? You're not even capable of remembering something from your own job? What a useless employee, sheesh. Me, realizing that she misunderstood me as a worker of the shop. Oh sorry, but I don't work here miss, I'm just a... Karen, she cuts me off and gives me a small smack on my back, almost making me lose balance and fall over the TV since I was crouching. You should be fired for being an incompetent and useless employee. Where's your manager? At this point I simply stammered a bit since I'm bad with confrontations, and I was also shocked. She just dared to hit me even if it didn't hurt, and this is when my uncle enters the scene. John, he's a tall thin guy, around 1.82 meters while I'm just 1.73 meters. Excuse me, but what's going on? Karen, she looks at John and she thinks that maybe he's a customer as well or something like that, as I tried to focus on my task at hand and not think about this. This employee is just disrespectful and useless. He doesn't remember the prices of the things on his own workplace. John, miss, he doesn't work here. Karen, she just ignores what John said and continues, he should be fired. I would never hire someone like him who I bet doesn't even remembers his own name. John, miss, he's my nephew and he works with me, not with the shop. Karen, what the heck do you mean by that? The woman looks confused now. Me. As I just said moments ago, I don't work here. I'm just helping because the coworker of the woman in the main desk isn't here. And she can't do all of this alone and attend customers. Karen at this point realizes and simply huffs and scoffs as she walks towards the main desk, where Nellie is still working with the clients that were there before Karen. She deals with Karen with ease as I focused on the TV. I finished packing the TV and helped my uncle pack the fridge. Then when Karen left and the other clients left as well, we sat down with Nellie, and she told us that she tried to say that I gave her a wrong price, and that I caused her trouble. She was basically demanding a discount over the AC and a washing machine, if I recall correctly, despite the fact that Nellie literally saw and hear our interaction from her desk, since it was like 2.5 meters away from her desk. She called Karen out of her bluff and even told her that if she doesn't leave she would call police for assaulting me. And there's security cameras around the shop. That's when she just left. Embarrassed, and probably we won't see her in a while. I guess it wasn't as juicy as other stories, but still, how'd she dare to literally attack me for not knowing the price of something when I don't even work there directly? But in the end, Nellie bought a Coke and some bread for the troubles, and the woman never got her ACE. Update. Okay, I just finished my route of deliveries with my uncle, and guess who received an AC, a TV, and a phone? If your guess is the Karen, well, your answer is correct. The interaction was a bit awkward, since, due to delivery policies from the credit companies, or credit unions, I think they're called that in America, I guess, only she could receive, and I had to take photos of her, get her ID. She had to sign some papers, etc. But in the end, she apologized, and even offered me some cold agua panela, is a Colombian beverage made from boiling panela, then adding ice and lime, and some cookies, and even gave us a tip for the troubles. So in the end, everything was good. She apologized, and now I ate something and drank something cool for the heat. Let's dive into our next story. How much more obvious can it be? I used to own a skeleton hoodie. I loved it. You could zip the hood right up over your head, and it turned into a skull mask. Not really attire a 30-something-year-old man should wear in public, and my girlfriend hated it, but I loved it. Anyway, I was walking through Kohl's one afternoon with my jumper on and my basket and my little list, and this older guy comes straight up to me like, "Where's the oats?" I actually looked down at my jumper to check if I was wearing it, because who would mistake an idiot wearing a skeleton hoodie for a staff member? "I don't know." I shrugged at him. "Don't you work here?" He asked me with tone all through his voice. I was speechless. I actually stepped back and glanced down at my jumper again to make sure I really definitely looked absolutely nothing like a Kohl's staff member. I did not. I stared at him for a long moment, uncertain how to respond. He just kinda huffed at me and stormed off, and to this day I am baffled as to what he saw when he looked at me. On to the next story. The crazy lady at Payless. So, this story is going to show my age. When I was 16, my mom, cousins, aunt, and of course myself went to Payless. For those of you that don't know, Payless is a shoe store. Anyway, I never really went to this store because I wear a size 11 wide shoe in women's and they didn't carry my size. Well, I got bored watching my family trying on shoes. So I wandered off just looking around the store. Now the employees wore polo shirts and slacks. I had on jeans and a t-shirt. This lady walks up to me and asks if there was such a shoe in the back with the size she wanted. I said I don't work here. She yells, "Yes, you do, go in back and look for my shoe." Again, I politely tell her I don't work here. She continues to yell at, claiming that I do. At this point I'm getting upset, but realize I don't have put up with this and walk away. As I'm walking away, the woman yells, "You're getting fired." So I rejoined my family but didn't say anything about what happened to them. As I'm leaving the store with my family, my mother walking beside me, that same lady is yelling at some poor manger. She then yells and points at me, "I want her fired." Well, my mom started to get mad. Mama Bear was about to make an appearance. Then the manger says she doesn't work here. I have never seen her before. I should point out that I'm 5'11" with a large frame, so I'm not hard to miss. My mom is 5'2" and she was about to off on this woman that manger saved her. Our last story for today. A horrific story from my childhood. It was me. I was the one who asked for help. It still haunts me to this day. This happened when I was like 13 or something, and for context, I was very socially anxious. I was at the library, not my regular library, because I was looking to get a specific book, and I hadn't been to that library before. It was also like 5 o'clock on a Sunday. My dad was waiting in the car, and I'd forgotten that I told my friend I would read the book on the weekend. So there I was, an anxious teenager alone in a new place, desperately trying to get a book 10 minutes before closing time. Perfect. After locating my book, I virtually ran to the self-checkout machine, which was some newfangled Scantron thing that they didn't have at my library. I had my dad's library card on his phone and I had to scan the barcode on it. That's it in theory, the barcode's on the phone and I had to place it under the red light on the machine to scan it and access our account. However, to my horror, when I placed it under the sensor, it didn't scan. Rotate. Scan die. Rotate. Scan dot. Flip phone over. Try to scan in another place. And so on. By now the announcement had come over the speaker saying that the library was closing, and to finish up your borrowing. I tried looking around for a librarian or someone to help me, and I saw a nice-looking lady walk past with a lanyard on. On the verge of tears, because for some reason this was the most horrific situation I could have found myself in, I ran up to her, grabbed her by the arm and asked if she could help me scan my book. I can't imagine how I would have reacted if that happened to me, but I think I flustered her so much that she just went with it and walked back to the machine with me. I explained that I couldn't scan my card, and she in turn explained to me that she didn't know how to scan it either. Somehow I had managed to find probably one of the only other people in the room who also didn't know how to scan a virtual library card. I ended up showing her that the card was on the phone, and that I thought I had to put it under the sensor, but it wasn't working. After about 2 minutes of her looking at the phone, then the machine, then back at the phone and me doing the same, I finally came to my senses and asked her if she worked there. She said, "No, I'm just here for the children's reading hour." As you can imagine, my face went bright red. I, even more flustered than she was when I first came up to her, tried to apologize and say it's okay, you can go back to whatever you were doing, but she said no, we can work this out together. Eventually we managed to scan the library card and this lovely woman who I am eternally grateful for high-fived me. After some deeply shameful words of thanks, I ran out of the doors with my book and never went back to that library again. I don't know who that lovely woman was or why she kept helping me despite not working there, but I hope that she's doing well for herself now. And those are all the stories we have for today. See you tomorrow.